Alright, so we're trying to finish up this chapter, talking about consideration. What is it? Alright, certainly there needs to be a reason for making the promise, and it's also deemed to be a sufficient reason for enforcing it. So if you have consideration, is what both parties are actually going to give up. Alright, so what is legal value? It's a promise to do something that one has no prior legal duty to do. Okay? So, in consideration of $5, I'm going to sit here and lecture to y'all. Is that consideration? No. Alright? I already have a legal duty to do this work. Alright? So, new consideration would not be something I already have an obligation to do. The performance of an action that one is otherwise not obligated to undertake. Alright? Refrain from an action that one has a legal right to undertake. Alright? So, if I were to say, in consideration of $100, I promise not to go 100 miles an hour. Well, that's not consideration because I don't have an obligation to do that. I can't legally go 100 miles an hour. So that's not consideration. All of these other things are. Bargain for exchange. This is what I like. This is the basis for the bargain. Okay, it's what both parties are giving up. Okay, so I agree to sell your house, or excuse me, I agree to buy your house. You agree to give me the house. All right, what am I giving up? I'm giving up money. You're giving up the house. Will you marry me? Ooh, it is a contract. I don't know. What am I giving up? Freedom. What's the young lady giving up? Freedom. Alright, so there is consideration there. Now, what about adequacy of consideration? How much consideration is really given? Generally, a court will not question the adequacy of consideration if it is legally sufficient. But, if fraud, duress, or undue influence is involved, consideration may be called into question. See, was I really giving up something? Alright, agreements that lack consideration. Pre-existing duty. Generally, a promise to do what one already has a legal duty to do does not constitute legally sufficient consideration. Remember what I said? I have a pre-existing duty to provide you with information on the law. I'm a teacher, so I already have that duty. So you saying, I'll give you $100 because your lectures are so good, that's not consideration. Now, if you were to say something, I'll give you $100 if you will stay in class an extra hour, am I legally obligated to do that? No. Since it's something new, that's consideration. Unforeseen difficulties. In the interest of fairness and equity, the court will sometimes, big sometimes there, allow exceptions to the pre-existing duty rule, but it's got to be pretty big. Rescission. Both parties can agree to rescind. All right, remember, people can always agree to cancel a contract. In return, it returns the parties to the positions they were in before they entered into the contract. But again, both parties have to agree to it. Now, I agree to rescind this contract. Well, so do I. What are they giving up? Their rights under the contract. Past consideration. Promises made in return for actions or events that have already taken place are unenforceable. Okay? So, I did some service to you last year. Oh, here's $50 for that. Is that enforceable? Not by me. There's no new consideration. Promissory estoppel is a real interesting one. It's also referred to as detrimental reliance, and this is arguably a substitution for consideration. Right? There has to be a clear promise, and the promisee must justifiably rely on the promise. And reliance would normally must be substantial and definite in character, and justice will be better served by enforcement of the promise. Here's the example. I am the dean of a college. A major airline contacts me and says, hey, listen, we need more aeronautical engineers from your college. We'll give you a new flight simulator if you will promise to send us 3 graduates each year. Well, I'm the dean of the school. What am I going to do? I'm certainly going to do whatever I have to do to beef up enrollment in that program, do whatever I have to do to get more students to graduate so I can get that flight simulator. I have relied to my detriment on that particular offer. Alright, was there actually a contract? No. Alright? So this would be an example of promissory estoppel.